Well, if there's like... Look at that thing! It's rotating.
Strange objects have been seen.
Unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, have captured the imagination of Americans for decades. But much of the conversation around UFOs has been confined to science fiction movies and novels, such as the 1982 hit E.T. In the absence of government commentary on the topic, conspiracy theories around the US concealing alien life and technology in secret compounds like Area 51 have run rampant. In fact, a 2019 poll found that 68% of respondents believed the US government knows more about UFOs than it's telling us. Earlier this year, conversation around UFOs reached a fever pitch after the US military shot down several unidentified objects in a matter of days.
It has happened again for the third day in a row and the fourth time in just 9 days. The United States has shot down an unidentified high-flying object.
One of the objects was later identified as a Chinese spy balloon. The rest, President Biden has said, are likely objects tied to private companies, recreation, or research institutions. In an attempt to be more transparent and address potential national security questions, the government has taken up the charge to publicize and legitimize the study of unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, as the military has rebranded UFOs.
Today is the first hearing of its kind where we will attempt to get down to the bottom of what is actually happening with UAPs.
We want to shift the conversation about UAPs from sensationalism to science.
A 2022 UAP report published by U.S. intelligence stated that 195 of the incidents the office had examined could be attributed to ordinary explanations, like drones, balloons, and other objects, including birds. However, another 171 incidents were labeled as uncharacterized, with some appearing to have demonstrated unusual flight characteristics or performance capabilities that require further analysis.
We experienced was, like I said, well beyond the material science and the capabilities that we had at the time, that we have currently, or that we're going to have in the next 10 to 20 years.
I think they have started to recognize that we should actually have the ability to report these objects, not because we're out there doing some type of UFO hunt, but because it's a matter of national security and domain awareness that the tactical air crew in this country understand what's in front of their aircraft.
Here is another UFO bulletin. The Defense Department has just announced that the unidentified flying object has suddenly disappeared from our radar screen.
The military defines UAPs as unidentifiable objects that travel in the air or water, as well as transmedium objects that can transition between space and the atmosphere, or between the atmosphere and bodies of water. Sightings of unidentifiable objects have been reported all over the world. Hotspots include the Middle East, the coasts off of China and Korea, and along both coasts of the US. Such objects are usually described as round in shape, white, silver, or translucent in color, and with no thermal exhaust for propulsion. Investigation into UFOs in the United States can be traced as far back as the late 1940s. Project Blue Book, which ran until 1969, recorded over 12,000 sightings. Out of those, over 700 remain unidentified.
If we just take a minute to go back to the origin story of UFOs, which is Roswell, 1947, it was learned after the fact that that metallic, deflated object that was found in a field by a rancher and his son was a government surveillance balloon designed to look for Soviet non-compliance with nuclear arms control that was in place after Second World War. And the government didn't want that program public. And so a military spokesman actually spoke to the local press and used the phrase flying saucer, and then you're off to the races.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States.
The US is not the only country to take UFOs seriously. A number of South American nations, including Uruguay, Argentina, Chile, and Peru, all have government programs that study and investigate UFO activity. In France, the French Space Agency has been studying UFOs since 1977.
The modern era of UFOs being in the news pretty much started in 2017 when the New York Times leaked, and then the Defense Department admitted to them these 3 Navy videos that were quite striking, showing objects moving apparently at very fast speeds and in erratic ways that the pilots didn't understand. And that sort of opened up the box, if you like, and then the government had to take it seriously.
The article brought to light the existence of a shadowy $22 million UAP program known as the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program that the Pentagon had funded from